This week, my friends, we're hunting Marco Polo and Ibex in Russia. The furthest thing from my mind when I was a 6-year-old kid in Bassett, Pennsylvania, listening to my teacher scream to the top of her lungs, "The Russians are coming, the Russians are coming." And we would run down in the boiler room, feared for our lives. And to think now, as a young man, I walked down through the streets of Moscow, hunting the Marco Polo and Ibex. That's exactly where we're going this week. One an adventure, folks. Don't go away.
Victor Chevrolet, Bass Pro Shops, and Alamocitos Ranch present Bob Folkrod's Hunting Adventures. Seven continents, 80 species, a 5-year quest in the making. High adventure, dangerous game, real-world training tips. This is Bob Folkrod's Hunting Adventures.
We journey with Bob Folkrod to the remote vastness of Eastern Asia, a place that is rarely visited by Westerners, and a place where some of the most legendary big game hunting of all can still be found.
He'll stop, he'll stop. Here in Missoula, Montana is the headquarters of what they call the Boone and Crockett Club, established over 100 years ago by Theodore Roosevelt for conserving wildlife and big game hunting all across the United States. That's what inspired me to start what I call the Obsession Quest, which is a 5-year program to take me to some of the wildest places all over the world.
This time, Bob's obsession quest will take him to far-off Kyrgyzstan in search of Marco Polo sheep and ibex. Once part of the old Soviet Union and now an independent country, Kyrgyzstan is perched on the edge of what some call the roof of the world between Russia and China. Like the old mother country Russia, Kyrgyzstan is a land steeped in the history of great explorations, conquests, and empires. Interpreter Artem Nuhalov shares some of his knowledge of the rich history, culture, and landscape of the country.
Kyrgyzstan is a small country. It's about the size of South Dakota, inhabited by 5 million people. More than 90% of the country is mountains, 40% over an elevation of 10,000 feet. It's inhabited by mostly nomads. It started centuries ago when Genghis Khan's army crossed it and destroyed most of the settled cities, and people had to go to nomadic way of life. So Kyrgyz people are tough, and they used to live in the mountains, and they spend much time on horses, and for this reason they are perfect hunters.
Getting here is an adventure all by itself. You're halfway around the world. Got off in Moscow, and we had an interpreter right there to meet us and check our baggage through. And so we spent, a couple days in Moscow and looked around and went to Red Square and drove down the city streets.
But Moscow was just the first leg of the long journey, and it was soon time to head on to Bishkek, the bustling capital city of Kyrgyzstan.
Bishkek is situated in the north of the country in the largest valley, flat territory in the country.
So we spent a couple days in Bishkek, we're driving around, we're looking at everything. And we walked through I guess it was like a supermarket, Sure. This whole room is just full of meat. Just about any kind of meat in here you want, in any size. And really makes you appreciate home, makes you appreciate the supermarkets and being able to go over there, get a little cart and buy things. And I mean, you feel so blessed that we live where we live.
With a 4 a.m. departure from Bishkek, the comforts of civilization were left behind, and the journey into the wild country began.
I bet you don't think you can get 8 people in there, do you?
On the way to the camp, we cover about 700 kilometers. Half of it is on the paved road. Still not the best quality, but paved road. And drive over the mountains. And that takes the most of the time. Because on the way, sometimes you can hardly say that the road exists there. If you look at the map, it's not marked on the map.
And the ride in here, you look down, oh, don't look down, guys. Don't look down. You feel like that vehicle is going to slide off, and you know if it tumbles, you're going to meet your maker real quick.
On the way, you have to cross river a few times. It gets worse in November, December, because there's some ice on the river, and you have to break through the ice. Sometimes get stuck in it and use a shovel or sometimes a rifle to shoot at the ice to break it. I know sometimes it would look unusual and for this reason scary, but in some places the ice gets so hard you cannot break it by anything, or it will take you days to break it. So the most simple method is to take a shot at this piece of the ice.
We get to camp after a 23-hour drive. Like I say, just getting here was an adventure all by itself.
Bob Folkrod's Hunting Adventures is brought to you by these fine sponsors: Vortex and Buck Fever Synthetics.
For the love of mud, gravel, and trail dust. For the love of farm roads, dirt roads, and no roads. For the love of hunting, fishing, and working the land. For the love of conservation, preservation, and restoration. Introducing Tracker off-road vehicles, designed and built on American soil for kicking up American soil. Tracker off-road, built for love of country.
When we face adversity, we find a way through it. It's about taking care of each other. It's the small parts that make a big difference. At Chevy, we promise to do ours. We're offering current Chevy owners OnStar Crisis Assist services and complimentary Wi-Fi data. To help keep you on the road, the Chevy Certified Service Experts are here and ready to help if you require parts, maintenance, or repairs. You can even schedule your service appointments online. It's just our way of doing our part.
Every new dawn is another opportunity, and sometimes it can be an opportunity for redemption.
Okay. One, two, three, four. Yeah. 44, 45. Yeah, that big. Yeah, wide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good Ibex.
Okay. Where we go? Over to King.
Just me. Let's go.
Okay. Walk from here.
White.
Okay. Black.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
White.
Well, we dropped down over to one spot at a vantage point, and you could see the excitement in the guide's eyes. You know, that this is a pretty happy, doable place right here we're in.
One guys. Make them down this. Take them up Ibex. Now, carefully. Okay.
And we had some little ones breaking, going under us, and all of a sudden the rules changed. They coming back of us. Now you got to try to run, you know, about 100 yards at 14,000 feet with the anticipation that he's going to get away from you, and you're sucking for air. And they know that I need a backrest, you know, to shoot off my sticks, and they keep pointing. Here's the rock. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You know, I'm giving it all I got. Finally, I make the rock and I throw it up, and I can see him coming, but I also can see him slowing down. So I'm sucking for air, you know, and I'm trying to get my job done. You know, I glass him. I see which one. I see where I think they're going to go.
Yep, the one behind the broken horn.
I hit the rangefinder. He's within range. He'll stop. He'll stop.
Yeah.
Now you stop.
Second.
Oh.
Yeah.
You go.
Yes, stop. Right back. Oh yes, I love this. Good Ibex. Yeah. Good Ibex.
Good Ibex.
Fantastic trophy. Fantastic. Long beard, long horns onto him, you know, and there's bigger ones out there. I mean, we've seen bigger ones out there that, you know, so anybody that wants to come for Ibex, there's bigger ones out there than I got, but I'll tell you what, that's my Ibex. I'm absolutely proud of him.
And to come away with the trophy Ibex that was the quarry. Who could ask for more from any hunt?
Although Bob completed his obsession quest taking over 80 animals with a rifle, his first love has always been bow hunting. He's teamed up with longtime friend and archery coach Mike Price to help make you a better bow shot.
This week we're going to talk about your bow arm. What you have to learn is whatever your natural body dictates is what you should go with, because archery is truly repeat. Do the same thing twice and you get the same results. The more natural I make your system, your bow fit you, the better you're going to perform. So it's easy to find out what your bow arm should look like. If you are my target, I'm going to set my stance open and my heels, hips, and shoulders are going to line up. Now to see what my bow arm should look like, I'm going to turn and acquire my target, and then I'm going to pick my bow arm up, but I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to pick it up. My elbow breaks horizontal, and a lot of people say, no, I have to bend my arm because I need to miss my string, or my string hits my arm if I don't bend it. That's because your equipment doesn't fit you correctly. And the other thing it does is when people pick up their arm and they're shooting a bow, they'll turn their arm. So now this part of the arm is in the shot. If you can break your elbow and it hits the top of your head, you're holding your bow incorrectly. You're misaligning all your arm joints, your elbow, your wrist, your shoulder, and everything. So if I was to put my arm down, I turn and acquire my target, pick my arm up, you can see that if I break my elbow now, or break that joint, I hit myself and it moves laterally, not vertically, it moves horizontally. The whole thing is I should be able to turn and acquire my target, pick my arm up, break my wrist, and that's how my bow arm should look. The thing is that if you were to lean and tell me what a great hunter you are, how many 180 classes you killed, you're probably not going to look like this because you're going to get tired. Your muscles are going to wear out. You're going to push your arm back out there and your body's going to hold your body weight naturally. The deal is that bent or locked isn't good. It's whatever the natural position your shoulder and your arm, your elbow, and your wrist can stay in. If you bend your arm, you incorporate more muscle to hold the bow. The first thing that leaves you on rainy, nasty, cold days, and if you don't feel good that day, is your muscle. So this is going to change. And archery is truly repeat. So if I can just pick my arm up, draw my bow, and my bow arm looks just like that, that's the best fit you're going to get. And that should help you with your bow arm.
Transportation for all of Bob Volkrod's hunting adventures is provided by Victor Chevrolet. Check them out at victorchevrolet.com.
As the sum of each generation before it, the next generation Corvette stands alone as the new standard of precision and performance, of engineering and technology, of everything that makes an icon, and a Corvette, a Corvette.
The Marco Polo sheep is now considered to be amongst the premier animals for the big game hunter to pursue. Its large size, huge horns, and home amongst the highest mountain peaks of Central Asia make it irresistible to the most committed and adventurous hunters. But that hasn't always been the case. First described to the West by the great explorer Marco Polo, for the next 600 years, the animal was considered to be a mythical beast. But to the peoples of this remote and rugged land, the Marco Polo sheep has been a central character in their traditions, culture, and way of life for many thousands of years. And now it fills the imaginations of hunters the world over.
4 to 5 years ago, I kept seeing these pictures show up in the magazine. I go, that's a heck of a sheep, I was going to take 5 years to do my obsession for all the North American animals and the big 6 in Africa and all the turkeys. And I figured it'd be a neat deal to do the Marco Polo on the 6th year. And everybody kept saying, you better do it as soon as you can. You're not getting any younger. And well, I tell you what, they were right.
This week's Conservation Angle has been brought to you by Wild Sheep Foundation.
To see my first Marco Polo was breathtaking. I mean, to me, he looked huge, In my mind, he still looks huge,
Mini Marco Polo.
Down.
Yeah. Down.
Just the adventure, the travel, and everything to get here, to read about him, supposedly one of the hardest sheep in the world to get, and all of a sudden you're standing on a mountaintop with mountains all the way around you, snow, and you spot a bedded down Marco Polo. It's like, it's burned in my mind.
One up on top, sleeping. He's not quite big enough. We're gonna ride the horses now. See what we can find.
The obsession quest is Bob's attempt to give something back to the hunting world that has given him so much. This unprecedented effort will see Bob hunt, track, and stalk across the globe for all 50 North American big game animals, a wild turkey grand slam, and Africa's legendary Big Six. Though this adventure will put him in front of some of the planet's most dangerous animals, it's their mountain hideaways that give him pause.
When you figure in that, I'm afraid of heights, and you look at these mountains, they can be very intimidating. They used to intimidate me so bad that that made me afraid. I'd look at that mountain, I go, well, that's intimidation. And part of this obsession is, I look at the mountain now and I'm saying, I can do this. I take my time or whatever, I can get through this. And they don't intimidate me as much anymore. I look at the beauty of them, but I'm not as afraid of them as I was maybe 8 years ago or 10 years ago. When you stack hunts up and you try to put them in difficulty order, a lot of times the place that you are is difficulty. Like on a polar bear hunt, the temperatures are harsh, the environment is harsh, you're going across ice, you're staying in igloos. They make do with whatever they have. They're incredible people. And I put these folks right here, these guides, all the people that worked on us, same way. They don't look at a mountain and say, well, I can't get over it. If they see a Marco Polo on the other side, they're gonna figure out how to get you there. And so you trust them.
Small. Small.
We'll walk up on top, then come down over the top, is what he's saying. We can look down over, he's got a big one located up there. Okay.
Mountains this remote and inhospitable require guides born amongst the very same peaks. Interpreter Artem Nuhalov knows Bob is in good hands, with Baby and Sasha leading the way.
Baby, first of all, his nickname. He started working in the camp when he was very young. That's where he got his nickname, Baby. His original name is Dushun. He is a kind of real outdoor person. He spends much time in the mountains hunting. His parents were hunters. His ancestors were hunters. So I think he inherited this ability to spot animals from miles away with the naked eye from them. And Sasha's original name is Sagun. He is also a real expert on the mountains and horses. He always takes care of hunters like they're his not just friends but brothers. They also have this sense of adventure. When they see an animal, sometimes they want hunter to shoot this animal even more than hunter wants himself.
This segment has been brought to you by the Victor Chevrolet Deal of the Week. Check them out at victorchevrolet.com.
Eight Marco Polo, one big.
Yeah.
7 small.
Yes.
One.
Yeah. One out of the group that comes all the way back. Yeah, go. Yeah, get up, get up. $5.22. If we could take 400. Yeah, he's big. Yeah, they're gonna come in under still. 377. Big dark horn. That's him walking. Looking at us. He's looking at us. I need to get right here. No, they're really spooked up. They caught our scent.
During stalks well above 16,000 feet, Bob managed several fleeting glimpses of the Marco Polo, but couldn't get a shot. That would all change early the next morning.
And we pulled into this valley, and it was still dark, and you could hear them. You could hear them first, and they go, Marco Polo, Marco Polo, Marco Polo, Marco Polo. The anticipation for it to get light, you know, so you could at least see what you had, and we were right in them, and we kept backing up on the riverbed and backing up. Gosh sakes, you know, we had 2 Marco Polos that we knew, or at least I felt pretty darn comfortable that we could stalk these. And it was a flip of the coin on which one we was going to go after. And finally, we decided to go after the one on the right.
We're going to get on him. Just break up over the edge. You can see him.
You just knew that it was going to happen. It was in a location where they were relaxed. They didn't know we were there. We just kept, you know, just bumping up and popping up over there and laying that rifle on top of that little mound. I knew he was mine then. Even though he was in that little dip, we had the smaller Marco Polo in front of us, and they were just feeding, and it was just a matter of time for him to come up. And he come up there, and he was bumping some around, and he was the man. You know, he's bumping here and bumping there.
Here comes the shot when he stops. Yes. What he do? He dead? Okay, good. 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 Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Ah, good. Молодец. Молодец. Yes.
Good fire. Words can't describe that right now. An adventure here in Russia. Who would have thought when I was a high school boy we'd be over here hunting? That's one thing about hunters, though. They all got one thing in common. They got respect for the animal, and they got respect for one another. Everybody's after the same thing in a hard hunt. You can see just in an embrace. You don't need words for that. That was good.
After your successful hunt of a lifetime, contact Wes Good at CanadiStudio.com for the finest taxidermy in the business.
For advertising opportunities with Bob Folkrod's Hunting Adventures, please contact Bob at bgfolkrod@gmail.com.